else. Over.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's not okay, yeah, it's not a biggie. I was just I'm like I could have. What I think is, I think it had it on it. I'm pretty positive it did have the 220 on it. And then I went and got the 220 antenna. But I remember being at a coffee clash, and Dan and I were having Hunter put in the stuff for MS Bikeathon, and their radios are dual band, and I think that we just copied what they had over on his radio to our radio, and then I think it might have moved the 220 over.
Yeah, just remember it is not a UV5R. I'll go look up exactly what it is. Well, read the bottom of it. It doesn't say UV5R. It's got more to it than that. And it comes under, I think, a BTEC number, and that is readily available. Let me look it up for you. Hang on.
Okay, VA3EWV, you still there too? Okay, I think Hunter made it to his location there. Good morning, everybody. This is VA3EWV. I was up a little early this morning talking to VA3BS and VE3SX on VE3FHA. Then I came over here with Hunter with QS wide over here, and bled right into the 8 o'clock time frame. Good morning, everybody. Again, VA3EWV with the Cornwall Coffee Conversation and Commute. Looking for some check-ins there this morning. Let us know how your weekend went. This is VA3EWV listening.
E3EWV, VA3KTV. Good morning, Ernest, and everyone around the group.
Good morning to you there, VA3KCB. We got you on the log there this morning. I'm gonna try to do a little different, like get the check-ins and then go through the round robin. I've been trying to work on that, eh?
Well, you're doing a fine job, Ernest. Anyways, not to hold up the frequency, the weather down at my Riverside property is absolutely gorgeous. The river is like glass. The birds look like they've been well fed over the weekend because they're all sitting there plucking their feathers. And the sun is out and bright. It's gorgeous here.
Awesome, and thanks for the weather down there, what it's looking like. Yeah, I slid right on into this one, and I forgot to do my weather report. It is 10 degrees here in St. Andrews West, a 93% humidity. This thing is very wet, so like our boy there in the Parliament, it's very moist outside there. We're supposed to have a high of 25 today, a low of 14, which is good, and a 1% chance of rain. Yeah, get my little camera turned around there. It is looking really good outside too here in St. Andrews. It's clear skies, no fog this morning. Looks like it's going to be a great day. Okay, we're looking for check-ins this morning on the CCC. Could you be number 2? VA3WV listening.
Don't smile, not yet.
Okay. What's that? I hear something.
Before I get on, at least 2 times. I'm probably gonna kill you.
Herb me. Alright, you done.
Oh.
Still rolling.
On, Ernest?
Go ahead, VA3 Echo Victor.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. That is correct because I remember on the bottom of it it says UV5R, and then there's three eyes. So that must be Mark 3 UV5R3. That's what it says on my bail thing. It's in the car, like I said, but I do recall that being the model.
If you try to modify it, it could actually screw the radio up. And let's see, open, okay, waiting for this thing to open. Oh, UV5RX3. And I think that's what it'll show up here. Yeah, that's the one. It's got the 220 frequencies in there and everything. Yeah, so that's what you have to look it up under. You have to look it up under Radio Oddity UV5RX3. That appears anyways to be the way you do it over.
The QSL. Yeah, Rick, I got that. I'll make sure I get the right one on and give it a look-see before I try to make any modifications to it. Like I said, I had brought it over with me to a coffee clash when we were going to do the MS Bikeathon. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to that because I think I had went out of town or something like that. But yeah, I'll get the 220 back on there because I was like, whoa, where'd my 220 go? And my 220 is working really good here now that I have the right antenna, so that's awesome. I'm gonna put the Linko in the car full time now. I like it because it does, it goes up to 25 watts or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to have it as a full time 220 in the car. And that's going to be that. Anyway, we have 2 check-ins this morning. Could you be the 3rd check-in? VA3EWV listening.
That's an involuntary check-in. Yeah, I just double-checked it here. And when you go to radio ODD or something. RADIODDICY. Anyway, and you look up the model, and that's what you're going to find. Right at the bottom of its different models is the UV5RX3. So that's what you're shooting for, boy. Over.
Oh yeah, so you're talking about Radio Oddity on the website there. Okay, I see that. I'm on there now. RadioOddity.com. Okay, I see what you're talking about now. All right. Yep. Okay, I see that. Yeah, Rick. I don't have you down here yet for a check-in. I have KCB and HWF. I can sure put you on there. Over. Anyway, Rick, what were you up to this weekend? Did you have any fun stuff going on your end, or was it normal just days of the week? Over.
The usual. Yeah, you don't look it up on the Radio Oddity, on the Radio Oddity site. It's only for chirp. When you look it up when you want to program your radio under chirp, you look under Radio Oddity. There's, if you've looked at chirp, it's Mark Bender, and all the different ones are there, and there's one called Radio Oddity, and when you open it up, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh, I follow you now, and it has me updating my chirp right now. It says a new version is here, so I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, well, you can find it when you got when you open up church. What? Start to trip over my words. When you open up chirp, go into the mode of acquiring. Hang on a second. Get rid of it. Go into the mode where it says download from radio. You click that if you remember from it. Then it says the port. It gets a little box that says port, vendor, and model. And that's where you have to use radio oddity, and the UV5RX3 is the model, even though that's a Bofang number, but that's how you find it to program it. It's under radio oddity over.
Oh yeah, I have it now. So I have it, my port, I'm on COM port 4, I have radio oddity, and now I see it says UV-5RX3. Got it. Alright, awesome. Thank you, Rick. I'd never, that'd took me some time to figure that out on my own. I'm glad you mentioned that. So that makes it a lot easier, eh?
Yes, it won't program the other way. Under UV5R, under Bofang, the program doesn't let you do it, so unless you can, under certain circumstances, I think, depending on its software, on its hardware, that's something I ran into. Some UV5Rs can be programmed on 220 if you add a certain program. Some of the radios have the ability to accept the program and some don't. So apparently it's the older version that can, but I don't know too much about it. But anyways, that's where you've got the spot now. That's the place where you do that Bofang. Over.
All right, so I'll resurrect that one today. Yeah, well, that is a very popular radio. I can't believe how popular it is, and I'm just new to the hobby, but it seems like people get those. I heard people saying, "Oh yeah, I got 2 of them just in case I drop one. I already have another one." I heard people saying, "Yeah, I put one in my tackle box on the boat and this and that," and I was like, they get them because they're, I guess, very affordable. But, Rick, what it reminds me of, when I was doing computer hardware technician back in the day, people would get PCs and stuff like that, and they would, spend, hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars to get us to resurrect these PCs from the grave and all this stuff. Now, my daughter bought a Chromebook 2 or 3 years ago, and it just was slow. And she goes, "Oh, I just bought a new Chromebook." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "The other one was slow." I'm like, "Because it has stuff on it. You need to keep it maintained like an oil change. You got to clear up the stuff you're not using." She goes, "Yeah, that would take too much time, so I just bought a new one." And I'm like, "What?" So that reminds me of the Vail things. People get them like they're disposable radios. Over.
Well, I think there's some truth in both of it. I'll give you an example. What I was just talking about is doing it it's on my ThinkPad. I've got 2 ThinkPad laptops. They're both identical. And when I first got them, they were speedy. And without really putting much in, the only thing that was happening was being updated. So what's happening is basically you're stringing out the data, with all the protective add-ons to every packet that you're sending in there, so the radio has to digest that, and it also slows down the computer over.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's what happens, eh?
So it's really slow now. It's holy hot mackerel. Yeah. No, that's it. As they add on, in fact, Windows still updates this thing. This thing is running on Windows 7 64. And, in fact, both of them are. It's the way they were. They used to be at one time real fast, but there's not much tail from all the stuff that's meant to protect that poor little packet from being destroyed by, you know, some sort of electronic interference from whatever garbage comes down the internet. So, yeah, and they still do it every month, believe it or not, because 764s are apparently still popular in the U.S. military. That's the reason why they still update it, but only for security, nothing else over.
Okay, I got you. What I'm looking at today of getting, Hunter VA3EWV had gave me a battery pack for my Wookson that he had got from Dean. So I was using that, the battery pack that I got from Dean on the Wookson, and I'm letting the new ham use that radio right now. His name is Brendan. So I gave, I'm like, here, you can use this, or you can have it. And if you get your own radio, you can bring it back. But I found that little battery pack that you can connect to your cigarette lighter very useful. So I'm going to be looking for one of those today on somewhere besides AliExpress. The only place I see it right now is AliExpress. And if I get it now, my grandkid will probably be 18 years old by the time it makes it to my house. So I'm going to try to get one of those. That way I can just leave that bail thing in the car there, eh?
Yeah, I just did something stupid here. No, I gotta figure out what. Yeah, I closed the lid on my computer and I can't remember, I treat them differently. One of them goes to sleep and the other one's supposed to do something else. Then I opened it up and it seems to be dead. So maybe it did go off. Basically, I wanted to shut it down because it's not plugged in. The other one's plugged in. It's in sleep mode. You know what I mean? So there's still a power supply going in and keeping the battery all juicy and happy. And this other one, it has to start up from scratch. With slow computers, it takes a long time to load up. So now it's got me wondering what mode it's in. I guess it says off, which is all I want. Anyways. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I'm going to sign with you and I'll say 7-3 for now. I just thought I'd get involved today for the simple reason it just dawned on me as you were talking that I never mentioned how to charge the thing up or program the thing up. So once again, my apologies, sir. VA3EWV, VA3EWV.
I'm sure it was just an oversight, Rick, and I appreciate all the stuff that you do. Good morning, everybody. It is 8:20 now, 8:20 in the morning. We've had some good conversations even before 8 o'clock. We were talking to Dean VA3BS, Marshall VE3SX. We've had Rick log in, VA3KCB. We're looking for a couple more check-ins. Could that be you, a VA3WV listening? Nothing heard. Back over to you, Rick. VA3KCB, you still out there?
Yes, sir. I'm just counting all the Canada geese and the seagulls. We're up to about 400. Over.
So that's what happens when you own all that riverfront property out there. Hey, look, I wanted to say I was very excited to hear you in there on the Cubby Hill net on Friday night. You did come in and then I don't know what was going on after that, but I told him that it was you that was trying to check in. And at the end of the net, he rang out for you one more time, but we didn't hear you. And I did hear you on the Procom net last night, too. You were sounding loud and proud on that one. So I see you're hitting those nets, too. Yeah, they're pretty good. And I attend those nets because I've always wanted to be net control. And I just don't know how they get all those, how they listen and get all those call signs and have time to get them right, like almost 90% of the time. I would have to ask people 2 or 3 times the call sign. Over.
video and put it on the bench, and then I noticed the microphone wasn't plugged in properly. Yeah, and I listened to most of the nets a little bit, just getting warmed up. I said, I'll roll this over for a second. Yeah, back to you there. So, yeah, I did check in last night and used obviously the radio is working better now. I also did something that interests me. It was at 4 o'clock this morning. I watched your video, I think it was last night, on DMR. That was quite interesting. Not that I'm really following it as much as it sounds, but I did watch that video, and I'd like to get a hold of that program.
Yeah, Hunter there, he went and bought an SDR dongle. And those have been pretty popular for a long time. But before I forget something, I want to say this. When I do the Monday through Friday CCC, that's what I'm going to start calling it, the Cornwall Coffee Conversation and Commute, the CCCC. I look at it as Monday through Friday classroom training, hey? Like this morning, I learned something, right? Last week I learned some stuff. What was happening to me on my bail thing, if you're listening to the classroom lecture from Rick was telling me about those little, and I wish I had the right names of them, but I'm holding it in my hand now, pointing to the screen here because I'm recording this, but they have those little tips on there, and you have to push them in and they lock in. That's the same thing that happened to me, because people were saying I was coming in and out. So you missed that class last week. I think that class was on Thursday. Yeah, but it's happened to both of us. That's what it was, because I was having that same issue. Anyway, I'm going to be right back. The XYL poked her head in the door, so let me go see what she's up to, and I'll be right back, guys. If anybody else is out there, we're missing a few, AQE and ARF. If you guys are out there, come in and say good morning. This is VA3EWV, back in the shack on our Cornwall Coffee Conversation and Commute. It is 8:26. It's a beautiful Monday. We're here talking to a few folks this morning in our Monday through Friday classroom training on amateur radio. We have a lot of great guys out there to come in and give us some guidance. So I'm figuring the more we talk, the more we learn. This is VA3EWV listening. And we're also also looking for call-ins this morning. If you want to be number 4 on the list, please come now. If not, we'll just keep on talking with VA3KCB. Please come now. Oh, battery eliminator. That's what it's called. Okay, yeah, back over to you there, Rick. Are you still there, VA3KCB?
Yes, sir. VE3KCB here. Yeah, what interests me was, I guess I'm going to have to write down, I know that PRY got a dongle. That part I understood. It was the first time I seen him live was on your video that you just posted. And on your computer screen you had, all the world in different sections, if you will. And you were trying to make contact, which you made 3 really nice contacts. And that's using GMR for 70 centimeters. But the program on your computer itself, that's just a software program you download for your computer, correct?
Yeah, I think, okay, so here's what I had. On my big screen, Renee, he brought me to this. He said, look, if you're going to get DMR, here's what you do. Go to hoseline.com or hose.brandmeister.network. That's what it is. And I'll put it on the link on this video today. But you go to hose.brandmeister.network, and it basically is your SDR dongle, so it shows you anybody who's talking, they pop up there, and then if there's a red square around it, that means they're actively talking. It also tells you how long they've been talking. So I have it up again right now, and it's saying that somebody in Spain has been talking for 25 seconds, right? So I'm like, oh, I want Spain. There's another person in Italy right now, and I can see it says Italy right beside it. There's an Argentina one. So, the thing I like about DMR is I'm like, oh, well, let me just go to tune in because there's a guy talking Spain. Now, so that's that one program. The other program that I had up on my computer at the time, that's the one that I programmed my SDR radio, right? So we call those things code plugs. So 91 is worldwide, and that's a code plug. And 93 is, North America. So what happens is I have those in there, but then you want to talk to a person kind of like one-on-one. So what you do is you go, just like the national calling frequencies, you get them on national calling frequency, and then you take them over to another place to talk to them where you can spend a lot of time, right? Over?
Okay, I got it. So I guess basically what I'm looking to have exactly what you were doing, I need to make a short list of what do I need as equipment. I don't have, the only thing I've got is a dual band radio, and I have a laptop, and I have a TV, I have computer screens and all that. So I'm missing a few parts apparently.
Yeah, at that point you just, from my knowledge, you're just missing a DMR radio. So I'm going to be going with Renee on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. I'll get the exact date. But Renee is going to Iroquois to do a DMR demonstration. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, do you mind if I tag along? Because I told him that I wanted to do this thing this fall called Fall in Love with Amateur Radio and Fall Back in Love with Amateur Radio. I'm going to make like 4 little pictures, because there are people like VE3 that has worked every country in the world on CW and on HF. So then he saw this new thing called FT8, and he's like, well, I was getting I was kind of falling off of it, because I've done it all these years, but I have this new technology, so I'm going to follow that. Now he's reinvigorated, right, and doing FT8. So what I want to do is find people oh, there's the person talking on the Hostmaster scared me. But I want to find people like myself who don't mind opening up their shack and have people come through just because they're curious and do live demonstrations. I'm never going to try to push anything on anybody, just like Rob's not going to, and other people. We just want to show them. And I have VE3GIN. He's saying that he's going to get out there. He doesn't have exact dates and times, but he's going to do some POTA for us too. Parks on the air. Over.
I'll copy that. Okay, it's interesting. I'm going to start doing a little bit of groundwork. It's unfortunate I don't have DMR at the moment. And I just purchased two dual-band radios. One is a mobile, and the other one is what I'm talking on. It's my portable with my rooftop tower.
Hey, see, but you have a good thing there. Well, maybe not. I know a lot of people when they have like my wife has a certain camera that she's never going to get rid of. It's a Nikon or I don't know. It's something. I was about to say a DMR camera, but it's a SLR camera or something like that. But she told me she'd never part with it. But you have a lot of radios. And remember what I did? I sold all of my love meter equipment to get, I sold all, my base station, my amplifier, all that stuff like that. And then I put the money together to get this DMR radio. And I hear that VA3EWV has DMR radios. I'm about to go look now. And if they do, it's going to be very inexpensive. Let me go check the net real quick. I'll be right back. I've never purchased anything from this AliExpress, but they seem to have the market covered on everything. Goodness gracious. But I'm looking on this now for the DMR for VA3EWV because I'm pretty sure they have it. Exactly. Hey, we can swap it between us. If I'm not using it, you can use it. And I did find that VA3EWV does have DMR radio, and it's $72 Canadian in some places, right? And then in some places like $119. So they do definitely have a DMR radio. It's heck, I might.
Yeah, CQ, this is
someone's calling now. Anyway, I got this right. I have to turn that Brandmaster off.
Okay, let me check out. I won't purchase until I talk to people with AliExpress. I have bought lots of stuff from AliExpress, and it doesn't take as long as what some people tend to lead other people to believe. I've always got it in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, are they legit? Because I heard them that thing must have been out like 10 or so or more years now, but I thought it was one of those hoax places, but I still hear about it. And you purchase stuff from there yourself, eh?
Well, absolutely. And they've always come through. I've never been under the belief of buyer beware. Someone told me about them a few years ago, and I probably spent, I'm not sure, $400 to $500 with them, and I don't have one regret, at least for the stuff that I bought.
Okay, yeah, that's because I didn't know if they were gonna have, I go to the dollar store all the time, and my grandkids, I don't know if you've seen their pictures and stuff before, but I have Preston and Knox. And by the time we get from the dollar store there by the food basics to my driveway, everything's in pieces and stuff. They're like, Papa, the head broke off of it. I'm like, yep. We'll put some super glue on it, you know. But I guess they have good stuff there, eh?
Well, I mean, they sell a lot of baling, and it's the same as what we're buying. Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes they're cheaper. Keep an eye out on free delivery. A lot of the stuff has a delivery charge, and some of the stuff does not have a delivery charge. But I bought a 10, 11, 12, what is any tone, something 500. It's the size of a pack of cigarettes. It's a 10, 11, 12 meter radio. Beautiful radio.
Oh, you got that from AliExpress for real?
Absolutely. You go on AliExpress and it's AT, just type in AT 500 and I think it'll come up. It's not Sideman. It's, I'm not sure if that one is, because I bought two of them. AM or AM FM. Anyways, it's 10, 11, 12 meter. And super crispy, and it's the size of, put it this way, it's the size of a wallet, a standard men's wallet.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Can you give that one more time so I can write down? What's the model again?
I think they call it the AT-500. Let's go AT-500. And I'm not sure, it should come up if you just use AT-500.
Man, that's pretty nice. I don't know. I have Tupperware at my house now. I've always had Tupperware. I'm gonna have to hit the Facebook and start selling some of my Tupperware because I wanted to save up for an Anytone DMR handheld, right? Because those run about $400 to $500. But also, you know, like for my radio here, it says that it has 4,000 channels, right? It has 10,000 talk groups and 300,000 digital contacts. So I can hold 300,000 digital contacts in it, 10,000 talk groups, and 4,000 channels. And when I first heard that, I'm like, this is absurd. This is just way too much, right? But when you talk to people who are in the hobby that have had their radios for 10, 15, 20 years, because nothing's broke on them, you start getting people, and there's a guy I've talked to twice now on DMR, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I've talked to you before. I'm sure that happens on HF and everywhere else too, right? But now, now that we're talking, I emailed them, and I'm like, hey, look, program this frequency in, and if I hear you on 91, then we can go to this other talk group and see, and that's how you do it. So, anyway, that's pretty interesting stuff. And hey, I'm like the more ways you can get out, the better. That's my motto, eh?
Yes, sir. Did you find the AT-500?
Not on AliExpress. I'm gonna look on Google itself now.
You might want to add 10 meters to that AT-500 10-meter radio.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, that's nice. The one I'm seeing now is a small footprint too, so that's even better, eh?
Oh, like I said, it's the size of a man's wallet with a little money in it. Thick wallet. It is super, it's like the world's smallest CB radio, but it's got 10 meter in it also, so you need a
Yeah, and it's only $121, and I'll tell you what, I I love my and still love my Galaxy 959 Bravo, right? But I'll take, and this thing even has a frequency counter right on it, so you can't even beat that, and it's $121. You know, because here's the thing with that radio right now, and you saw it mounted in my car. I cannot pull the front seat up on the passenger side because that radio is so doggone big, right? And this here would be nothing. I can take this on top of my doggone Alinco, eh?
Exactly. I put it between the seats here. It's so small, and I have a quick disconnect on my antenna, so I don't have to unscrew the antenna. I just pull it off, and I have it on a cigarette lighter. So I just go pull, and the radio comes inside the house. And then in the morning time, I don't have my 11 meter with me, so I have a quick connect on the top of my portable here. A quick disconnect, and I just slide it on with the connector, and no screwing the antenna either.
What? I've never even heard of that kind of sorcery. I've never heard of a quick connect for the coax cable thing.
Well, I use them throughout my shack. There's two different kinds. There's cheap ones and reasonably better ones. I'm not sure how the fellow people feel about them. I've been using them probably for over 40 years. I don't screw cables on. I use quick connects, but it's a good thing.
You know, yeah, let's pause for the calls for a quick second. I want to comment on something you just said there. And this is funny. This is all in humor. When I got my license, I was so excited to get out there and get on, right? And you know, I had only done 11 meter stuff, and in my experience with 11 meter, I was just telling what it was. I only had a couple radios. I've never had, you know, gangs of radios. I've only owned 3 or 4 radios until I got into ham here. And that's when Art gave me a radio, so that made that 1. And then Rick gave me 2 radios, so that's 3. And then Rob gave me a handheld, so that's 4. And then I bought my Yaesu handheld and my Anytone. So this is the first time I've had anything over, like, that's 6 radios. I never even owned 6 11 meters. So what I was going to say is this. When I got those radios, those were back in the Radio Shack days. When you went to Radio Shack, you had them install the thing. So I had a radio installed for me with a K40 antenna on it at Radio Shack. And I ran that setup until I moved from the States to Canada. I was a week living in Sault Ste. Marie, and somebody stole my antenna off the back of my car. And so I ran around with a radio, and I couldn't find nobody in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, or Ontario to fix it. 1 second. So anyway, I was out of radio for a long time, wound up selling that thing, and then I got my my Galaxy. So all that to say, I never had any type of experience installing stuff and checking SWRs and this and that. I didn't even have an SWR meter nowhere to be found except on the radio itself in the car, and I never messed with that. But when it comes to stuff nowadays, and I'm getting to a point here, just in life, people aren't really worried about quality of stuff. I'm not talking about on the air and not the way you sound. Some people are just getting like computers and you name it just to get it and paying $200-300 as opposed to somebody's paying $1,000 for a computer and they both just go to Facebook, if that makes any sense. I know there's a lot of stuff to say, but Facebook is only Facebook, you know, on a $2,000 computer or Apple and on a $200 Chromebook. Facebook is just Facebook, eh?
Oh, 100% correct. I'm a bargain hunter
Yeah, and I don't know if people can hear the difference, but you know, like when I first got the the dual band antenna up from Renee there, the Diamond X50, it had gray cable on it, and it was like the width of a pencil, right? And I talked on that, and now I'm on the LMR 400, and I'm sure that, you know, for the common person that's out there, they couldn't tell the difference. It's not like I'm talking on this and they're like, oh my God, you sound LMR 400, like you're talking about LMR 400. I think it's just, you know, the wear and all this, that, and other, but, you know, unless people have sophisticated equipment out there, you know, I have troubles when I'm doing the radio stuff and people are saying, how do I sound? I'm like, dude, you sound good to me. And I guess it's when people have other radios that are sophisticated, then they're saying, oh, well, you're this is this, you're that's that. I'm like, well, heck, if I can hear you and you're making the trip, you're doing good, over.
Oh, I hear you 100%. I can more than hear you. I think that the very, very inexpensive coax is more crucial not to use if you're running high power. When you're, like, in Cornwall, when we talk local, I can talk local out of a coat hanger. It's not very good on the radio, or for the radio, but still. And I think UHF, VHF, and I'm sure I might be corrected, UHF, VHF running 25 watts, I don't think the coax is as critical as it is when you're running 100 or 500 watts.
Hey, but here's the good part. With our friends that are with us in this club, they'll let us know the difference. You know what I'm saying? It may not be right now, because this is being recorded, but it will be. And that's what I like about these guys here. They'll let you know the differences and stuff, you know? Just like I said in last week's class, it was about, because, you know, that's something I used to deal with computers. I know I'm switching gears right quick, but I had a career in, you know, over the phone, getting people connected and their computers reinstalled, et cetera, et cetera. We would have people calling with internet issues, and I was like, well, when did last work? Yesterday. Well, did you move anything? No. Or go ask somebody else if they move anything. Oh, the dog went behind the thing. Okay, well, look at the connector on the side that's blue. It's usually blue for the internet. Do you see lights flashing? No. Well, push it in. Well, it's already pushed in. I'm like, okay, but there are no lights, so take it out, push it back in until you hear it click, you know? And then they would hear it click, and they're like, oh, right? So, you know, those things that we learned, that's what Rick was telling me last week about the whole, that mic. Now, it's a Retivus mic. So I finally see the name on it. When I saw that name, it didn't even mean anything to me. But again, talking to people on radio, I know that some people around here have those Retivus radios. But anyway, it wasn't popping in right, and now I know that I have to wait for that click, you know? Anyway, I'm sure these guys will let us know what's the big importance of the coax and stuff is. And I remember when Rob was over here, let me roll this right quick. I said, hey Rob, I'm lucky enough to have my LMR 400 straight from the antenna, all the way across. And I know some people said, you know, the shorter the coax, the better and all that stuff. But I have it run straight up into the shack. It goes right into the back of this WR meter. But that gray cable that I was telling you about, I have that gray cable going from the back of my radio and to the back of the meter. So there's 1 foot of cable that's not LMR 400, right? And that's going from my radio to the meter, and then the meter is going out to the rest of it. So my question was, should I go get a 1 foot piece of LMR 400 and then make that go from the back of the SWR meter to my radio so it can have the same ohms or resistance or whatever they want to call that? I'll learn that in a few more years, but whatever that stuff's called. So I'm thinking I'm going to ask them, should I get another 1 foot piece and put between the radio and the SWR meter, over?
Really? Come on, Ernest. Think about that one for a second.
trying to think, but I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. To me, and that LMR 400. Let me tell you something. If you ever get to look at my Facebook, my doggone meter's jacked up in the back because this stuff's so stiff, it won't even bend. It's not for like small places.
What ohmage is the coax?
See, that's what I don't know. Oh, no, 50. 50. Is it supposed to be 50? Is that the right answer?
And any 50 will do. For 1 foot, ain't gonna make no difference at all.
See, I knew something. All right, hands to the sky. Yeah, 50 ohms is the cable, right?
50 ohms that you can't measure. It's just the ratio of the outside conductor to the inside conductor with the dielectric in between that gives you that impedance. So you can have a smaller one and it'll also be 50 ohms, except the diameter of the wire will be smaller and the outside jacket will be smaller and the dielectric will be thinner instead of as fat as it is, and it'll still, because of the characteristics, it still can be 50 ohms.
Yeah, that's that word I was looking for, impedance. I'm going to actually study some more on that this week because, little by little, all this stuff starts making sense in the big picture, and talking about it. And that's something I need to really practice on because I was doing another practice test last night and I missed all my impedance questions. Like one question was like, the longer your wire, I don't even remember. It was something along the lines of, if your wire is longer and something with the frequency doesn't do whatever, how does that affect the impedance? And I bombed it. But I need to really, really focus on those things now. Impedance and ohms and all that stuff like that, eh?
Well, impedance is basically how you can say the radio world of AC sine wave signal looks at a piece of coax because it's always going from, if it was the DC world, it would look at it completely different. The coax 50 ohm impedance wouldn't be worth the powder to blow it to hell, because you know what? The thing would be its current carrying capability, which also applies to RF, but still it would be for DC current carrying capability or AC current carrying capability in a very low range like 60 cycles. That would be the only difference. But the 50 ohms really wouldn't make any difference because of the frequency the 50 ohm impedance wouldn't make any difference because of the frequency that you're using. It's basically doesn't show up as that. It would be the resistance loss on the length of the run on the center conductor, which would be the smallest of the two conductors, the outside shielding being thicker and being more of it, would have the smaller resistance, so therefore the least loss. The loss would be in the center conductor. Same thing happens for coax that are like RG8 or LMR 400. The center conductor is now thicker, and in case of the LMR 400, which is a foam coax, it's thicker than normal RG8 coax of the same diameter, but because it's using foam, the dielectric characteristics are changed, and so the ratio of the center conductor to the outside shield is different, but because you're using a different kind of dielectric, could be the same material, but one's foamed and one isn't, gives it the characteristics of being able to carry more current with less loss, just like if it was power coming in from the hydro poles outside into your house. The bigger the cable, the more power you can pull over.
Okay, see, that makes sense, and that's in plain English. I can definitely get a hold of that one. Okay, folks, this has been hey, Rick, did you hear that that other Rick had the same problem I did with the with the mic not clicking into place. Did you hear that, over?
Yeah, my ears are always here.
I told him if he tuned into last week's class on, oh, you know, literally, you know, no matter what, people say every week I learn something invaluable on here, you know. And the more you talk, the more you learn. So I've been learning so much about this. I'm still not at an 82% scoring thing, but I'm definitely not in the 60s anymore. I'm in the high 70s now. So no matter what, if I take it, I've been passing it. I just got to get over the 80 part. So we need to keep having these conversations over.
Yeah, well, you're giving yourself a little bit too much credit there. Yeah, let's put it this way. There's pardon the double hockey, but there's a AG double hockey stick to learn on something like this, and well, it's I guess you can say a course in electronics would solve a lot of that. You don't have to learn how to solder or anything like that. I mean, things have changed to the point now where you know, the resistors are smaller. I mean, I'm just looking at my IC25 that I'm trying to get to work on the repeater. So I've gotten myself a tone generator, so we, you know, like the 110.9 thing, that type of tone. And in order to get it to be useful on repeaters, for a simple reason right now, it's an older radio, was made for the days when repeaters didn't have CTCSS tones on them, and there weren't that many, so they didn't bump into each other, and necessitated the differential between one repeater and another with the same input frequency by adding a subtone to it. So, I mean, those are the good old days. It's, you know, like I'm trying to use this radio, I'm trying to make it useful for, say, like you were just saying before, you've given that to the new ham. Well, this could be given to a new ham, and inside it would be a CTCSS tone that I can adjust to 4 different common ones, but all our repeaters are all 110.9, so I can set this tone up to 110.9. It'll be inside the radio. It can only be adjusted by opening up the top end, you know, instead of just programming it, but that's the way the old radios work. And it would be useful on all the repeaters locally, over.
See, that's pretty good. And the thing that you said just now that I'm actually going to put into play here, I think it will be good for me to have an electronics course. So as part of EI, they offer like what they call second career or something like that. And I was looking into, believe it or not, like the heavy machine stuff, because I always wanted to do that. And I went to pursue that. Right, they were like, oh, you need an apprenticeship, and they only give those until you're like 35 years old. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you go get a job and go train right down the road there and give them all your money, but good luck getting a job since it's all union stuff. And that's what my neighbor told me that lives right beside me. His name is Eric. He goes, I've been doing heavy machine operating. You could probably get something with a private whatever, but at 55 years old, good luck trying to get a job in union without an apprenticeship. Anyway, so I went from that and started looking into driving, because that's something else. I was like, well, I can do driving. I can just change career out of what I've been doing. So I talked to all those people, and I went for an interview on Monday, and the guy basically said to me, hold on, let me roll this. The guy says to me, if you don't have experience, I can't hire you because my insurance company won't cover. So he has trucks sitting in the yard with nobody to drive them, but the insurance companies, or whatever you call it, insurance broker, I think he said, they want the people to have 3 years plus of whatever. So even if I go get my DZ or my AZ license, good luck with finding somebody because they want you to have experience. So I'm like, oh, so when you said electronics, I was like, wait a minute. I can just go and have them do me for electronics, and at least I'll have that. You know, I don't know how it'll help me with a job right now, but at least I can get the training for it, over.
Well, it's complicated. Electronics isn't this, you know. Well, let's put it this way. If you were to, I cannot describe this. I learned my electronics from the amateur radio handbook from 1959. That's all I can tell you. And in those days, tubes were simple and circuits were simpler. And I guess you can say I've increased it over time, and well, actually down to the point where soldering extremely small things and things along that line, I can put myself into the category of a big amp and fail. So I've lost that technique. Give me the big stuff. I can still solder that, but no, it's a whole industry that's how it boils down. And you talk about machine shop and things like that, like Doug is doing as a hobby. I would be kind of in that same situation, but I've had training in it. I've run a lathe and a few other things from what I remember in the good old days. I've even been in the foundry. See, when you're young, you can go through all of this stuff, and basically that's how they used to work. You had what they called preparatory or preparatoire, and that was like 6 months of going through all the different shops, and then or in one case, for my electricians course, I guess you can say trade school, and then I went to technical school after that in electronics, and that was where the foundry and a whole bunch of other stuff in there. But so you can go through it, you know. I mean, there was automotive, everything like that. I mean, look at automotive now. Holy mackerel! You got to know how to analyze everything like that. It's not just a guy with a wrench over it.
Yeah, that's right. That's what got me into computers, because my mom said to me, and this was back in 1986, you know, those folks that are wise, she said, hey, look, there's two ways to dig a ditch. You can dig it with a shovel and break your back, or you can dig it with a machine, right? Which one are you going to do? And I'm like, neither. I'm going to go into computers, and I stayed in an air-conditioned place, sitting on my BUTT for almost 23 years, you know, working with my brain and not my back there. But, yeah, anyway, I'm going to be getting on out of here. It is 9:05. The wife, she wants to go to the store there and pick up some stuff. Rick, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You also VA3KCB. Dean was on this morning, Marsh was on this morning, Hunter was on this morning. So we had 4 official check-ins and an unofficial check-in from Rick. I hope to see you guys tonight on the club net. And make sure y'all have something to talk about, right? Last week it was like, well, we talk every day on the web, so we don't have nothing to say on the net. Make up some stuff, okay? All right, anyway, this is VA3EWV working on V7 Click.
VE3PGC. And the net is going back to normal, I guess. Or the repeater is going back to normal. Anyways, I usually monitor it during the day. I'm back to McMillan and wife. So, what is this episode about? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. All I know is that somebody was making false stock certificates and they offed him. So, anyways, there's the murder. 7-3.
Thank you right there. Hey, and VA3KCB. They have, if you go to Amazon.ca, they have, not that you want it, I'm just letting you know, this is just for information only. They have TYT, and I've heard that name a lot too. They have TYT, digital analog walkie-talkie, handheld dual band, UHF, VHF, UHF, and DMR for $149. And if you buy it today, you can have it delivered by tomorrow. So they have DMR radios for $150. that you could buy and have it delivered by tomorrow.
Who's selling that?
It's on Amazon.ca under Prime, and it's a Prime thing. It says $149.99 free delivery, and it says you can have it by tomorrow on October 3rd.
Walkie-talkie, I wouldn't buy it for walkie-talkie. I have Bofang 1701, which I paid about $120 for. For use in as a walkie-talkie, it's kind of useless depending on, because the walkie-talkie has to continuously go into transmit and receive mode because it does need the fact that it has to always acknowledge the packet transmission, and it's so when you're transmitting, you're actually also receiving too, whichever way. And so this thing is kind of useless unless I put it on the outside antenna, and that's where it works. The only reason I got it, Ernest, is that I can go on DMR and use the repeater if I have to, but I need the outside antenna because it's affordable. It's a piece of, well, let's put it this way, it's not powerful enough over.
Okay, I understand, but if you just want to get on, so if you, like Rick was looking at my video the other day, so I had the host.brandmeister.network on so you can see everything. So I was on the computer, I have my radio here. You don't need the computer, by the way. That's just something that Renee had showed me, because he said that our repeater here for DMR, forget the term. He says that, anyway, let me back up. I would go on brandmeister.host.whatever, and I would hear people talking, but I wouldn't hear it on my radio. And he says, that's because you have to press push to talk to activate it, and then you can start hearing it. Anyway, all that to say, KCB, is that if you got the handheld, like he was saying, for the low price of whatever it was, you would have to connect it to your external antenna to use it, basically. I guess, is that what you're saying, Rick? Over?
Yeah, unless you're really close to the repeater. Yeah, it's one of these, the characteristics of DMR is that unlike C4FM or some of the other data systems, they don't require talkback. Data-wise, that is not your voice, but talkback like DMR does. It's always checking in with your radio after you make a transmission to say, yes, I got it, and yes, I got it all the time. So this is how it becomes a real pain being a low-power radio. When you move around and the thing drops out, you basically just unsync the radio from the repeater, and this is the whole problem. It unsyncs, and I use it as an outside antenna. So when Doug and when I was trying to talk to Doug the other day, even though it's in Cornwall, I can't use the portable from home. I can hear it. What was it now? I was not even using DMR. I was using C4FM, and even with C4FM, I was having a hard time getting into the repeater. So basically, that radio, which is also portable, is it's good for C4FM as long as I'm outside of the house. Maybe it'll be fine, but from inside the house, it's useless. But I can get in the repeater fine when it's in FM mode, and there's no problem that way. So all these things, all these extra features sometimes don't work the greatest, and that's why really the good old-fashioned FM repeater is the best for me over.
Understood. Yep, I copied that. And it might work out for Rick, because he's right across the street from the hospital, so he's like right up under the doggone Brandmeister repeater there.
Yeah, that's a different story. You would have no problem with the portable, probably from inside the basement. Not much signal loss, that's for sure. But no, for me, that was the only reason why I got the radio. I was not going to go out and
Understood. Okay, VA3KCB, did you get that, or have you left your QTH?
No, I'm patiently listening here. A lot of great information, like you said, Ernest, on the CC morning chit chat. There's a lot of valuable information.
Okay, with that being said, guys, we'll let y'all have it. It's been a great an hour and 12 minutes of chat this morning. Can't wait to see you guys tonight, and have a good day. VA3EWV, we're clear. All right, folks.